So we're doing Weird Fish's Arpeggi today. Right off the bat, we're going to start off with the drumstick, just counting us in at 153 BPM, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the drums come into the game. Alright, so then very quickly, we just have this little And by the way, our drums are simple. Just a couple of kicks, snare, hitting on the 2 and the 4, and then this little softer hit afterwards. And then some 8th note hats. But yeah, then we get the little which kind of just says, oh, here we go. And then you have the arpeggio starting with the guitar and then the bass line coming into the game. And yeah, let's keep going. Alright, so before we keep going, I want to point out that this track is going to operate in a very... Basically, the way it's broken up is we have this big A section at the beginning, then we have a little B section, then we have a C section. And both the A and the C section both work by just establishing an idea and then pushing up the energy of the idea the whole time. So in this first A section, I'd say the idea is this quick drum pace with arpeggios. And in order to start souping up the vibe, in addition to this guitar playing, the guitar 1 playing an arpeggio that really leads the melodic content of this second guitar comes in, and it's also playing arpeggios and just other things that just generally are harmonizing on the first arpeggio. And yeah, that just helps add more vibe and helps create helps us dive a little deeper into this initial concept. So let's just keep listening and see what else happens. You're going to notice that we're going to keep getting a piling on of energy, though. I noted one thing over here. It says amazing. This is because at this point we have these four arpeggios more or less being played, like this one. And I just love how when they do that cycle on this iteration, you get this nice little step down thing here. So just listen to the difference between this one and how they arrive at this one. Listen. So I just love how you have this little walk down thing. It just makes it sound different, and that just helps make this loop a little more special. And let me listen for something right here real quick. Yeah, it just sounds a little more special. I just really love that walk down. I think it just sounds really good. So, all right, now we're going to keep cruising on these two guitars and bass and drums going. Then we're going to add the
Why should I stay?
Okay, so something cool happens. So again, we had this vocal line occur, and then it starts to repeat, but then it just drops out here, which kind of interesting decision because it just lets the instrumental keep plowing forward. And I want to note that even though we have this like drop in the vocal here, which could feel a little like energy's going down slightly, I think it's replaced pretty quickly by this ominous chord coming in. If you listen for it, you can hear it. Try listening again. You'll hear this little thing in the background going like. Which for me, that just, it like hits me kind of in the chest. I feel like it's pulling me further into this little journey they're conjuring with these arpeggios. And speaking of, if you're listening on one speaker, it might be a little hard to hear this, but if you have headphones or a stereo system, especially right here, we're gonna get another sort of like, we're gonna get like another arpeggio coming in, which just adds to this swirly arpeggiating journey we're on. Remember, I said we were gonna start an idea and then just like go deep into it. That's kind of what's happening. Versus here, when each note was really easy to pick out, things are just going to start blending into itself and coming into this like slurry of arpeggios, which is sounding great. The vocals coming back, and we're going to keep stacking. So let's keep listening. I'd be crazy not to fall. All right, this is great. So you can see how the energy is still going up. Another, probably the most obvious way the energy is going up is we now have this response to the vocal. So by that I mean the main vocal is going to say something, and then we're going to get an immediate like callback from the background vocal. And you can even just see it here. See, look, vocals here, then none, then vocals here, then vocals here, then none, then vocals here. Listen for that like relationship. Really cool. And at this point, the arpeggios are really just slurring into each other. I'm going to test something real fast. Yeah, and even at the beginning of this chunk, you can tell the chords or all these arpeggios are maybe hitting some higher notes than they were earlier, which helps just add even more excitement. Just listen to the slurry here versus here. I'm hearing some doo-doo-doo. You're not really hearing that doo-doo-doo here. So yeah, it's really leveling up, and then after just a few bars, you're going to get this hit of the crash, and now the drums start picking it up too. I put more pop because the snare, it actually is still the snare pattern. Ignore that. But the snare is getting more exciting. It's opening up a bit more, as is the hat. And the crash just kind of, helps open up that like new energy level. And so, yeah, we're just going to keep pushing, keep going deeper into this idea. Real quick, so as that progresses, clearly the vocals are getting more like intense, at least the primary vocal. For example, just listen to how he's singing it here versus in the beginning. Here he's like, in the deepest ocean, and here he's like, everybody leaves. You know, just more energy. And at this point, these arpeggios are really just swirling into each other. You can start to hear, I think, some notes that are even higher than we've heard previously. So it's just really just... I can't even go as high as that in my voice. Like that, but an octave up higher. I don't know. I think. Basically, it's just slurring together. It's getting crazy. And now we're finally going to get to our B section, which I'm calling it a B section at least. So this is after we just had this huge rush of, you know, this sweet A section with all these arpeggios just building up and building up and building up. And now we're going to go into this B section where things are going to cool off. We're going to get this simple bass line, a more like, we're really going to hear the vocal. We're going to still have arpeggios, but they're a little more subtle. They're kind of more stripped down. Then we're going to get these like little, I'm assuming they're arpeggios. I didn't like map them out exactly, but you're going to get this synth. There's one in the left speaker, one in the right. Again, if you're listening on mono, you'll just hear probably just like the one, obviously. But, and if you're listening in mono, that means you're listening on one speaker. So basically, yeah, as you listen to, so yeah, on this section, just notice how we still have, just hear what's happening and see how this is kind of giving us a cool down from this first section. By the walls and wet fishes picked over by the walls and wet fishes, wet fishes. Cool. Now before we get into this last section, let's just look at that again real quick. Like I said, we cooled it off. We let the vocal shine. Simple bass line, simple guitar arpeggios. We got these little synth arpeggios slash just like interesting melodic lines going. And yeah, it cools things off, but it still kind of keeps that, like even these synths, it's cool how it keeps this like sort of like rhythm kind of going that we established at the beginning with this arpeggio. And real quick, just check this out. Remember, we started with this, and now we're here. But yeah, pretty dope. Reason why I put Melotron question mark is because if you're not familiar with this Melotron, I might botch some of these details. Feel free to correct me, but it's just like this old, I guess you'd call it a sampler. I think it's technically a sampler, but basically it has these like really cool sounds. Some of them are string sounds, and it sounds like they were probably using a Melotron string sound, because if you listen right here, you can hear some like strings in the background. By the walls. Listen. By the walls. And I'm just pretty sure that's a Melotron. Sorry if you couldn't hear that. If you could, have fun with that. So, okay, now we're going into our last section, which is sort of like our first section, actually. I mean, in ways it's very different, like in the sense that it just sounds different, but it's similar in its idea, in the sense that we're just going to kind of like get a concept and go deep into it. Yeah, so we're going to have our drums kick back in. We're having more kick drums now. So kind of a more exciting drum beat. Start with the crash, that kind of wakes us up and puts us into this section. It's funny, we have these like abrupt endings. Or at least just big changes. We're really cruising, then we slow down. Now we're like picking it right back up. Alright, sorry to keep talking, but we're having two things happening right away as well on the harmonic side. You're having this like vocal ooh, and then you're having like a distorted synth or maybe a guitar kind of mimicking it. And if you have headphones, the vocal's predominantly on the left and the guitar is predominantly on the right, but yeah. So go ahead and just see how that's happening. And there you have it. I'll talk about it a little bit in a little bit more depth of what all we got going on. But basically, you get this, like I said, we initially get this vocal and distorted guitar synth harmonizing against each other and playing the same, like at the same time, in the sense that like they're changing notes at the same time. And then we get this, I just put metallic, like, listen, the way I mapped out this MIDI, especially on this section, is going to be a little sloppy. But basically, at some point you have these like metallic floaty sounds coming into the game. Kind of dissonant. They're just floating in, which is cool. It just adds to this mood. It makes things a little more chaotic, a little more unsettling. You then also have this big like chord, or maybe it's a sample. You can still hear it jangling around there. And we still have, actually, these metallic samples are still present in the song. So yeah, we're kind of just layering on these crazy sounds and building up energy again. We get some more like harmonized vocals happening. I put R because you're hearing that a lot on the right channel, especially if you've got headphones. Then the guitar, before the guitar returns, I just want to point out how this bass line's pretty dope, how you get this little walk-ups. But I think this part is important because while we're dealing with all these walk-ups, at this point the bass drops low, which I think it just like signifies, we're getting back in, we're really about to get back into this track. I don't know, just low bass notes. When you're playing lots of high bass notes and then you go low, it has like this sense of importance to it, and I feel like it makes sense that right when it drops low, the guitar comes back. See that? And then we get this little like reverse sound. Shh. There's a lot of other sounds I'm missing. This is just like a tapestry of sound and of texture and stuff like that. But yeah, I know I've already listened to it. Basically, you're gonna have this vocal line come in, and then it's gonna repeat. And the drums are just going to keep getting a little crazy, like more little drum hits, more excitement. And then the track's going to end. Boom. And there it is. Hopefully that gives you a little more understanding of this track, Weird Fishes Arpeggi. If you like this video, please subscribe, like it, tell a friend, share it. I don't get paid for these, so if you could subscribe or follow me on Spotify at Alex Wilcox or on Instagram at Alex Wilcox, that'd be appreciated. Hope y'all enjoyed this. We have a lot, if you're new to this channel, we've been doing mostly electronic music, a lot of techno, but we're going to be doing some other, stuff like Radiohead and some other stuff. So we'll see if anyone likes this one. I think people will. But yeah, hope you have a good day and talk soon. Bye bye.